Now, to say that the Kershaw Iridium series, regardless if it's the original size or its subsequent little brother, the Mini, aren't some of the most popular crossbar sub-$100 knives on the market today would be an understatement. They are so popular, and I can see why. There's some excellent aspects to the model. So it only would make sense that here in 2026, Kershaw would decide to drop a fixed blade variant and a compact kind of EDC design. And now, having used this blade for a bit, I got it a few weeks before drop. Kershaw sent me a sample, and now having used it, carried it, we're going to run through its paces. There are some awesome aspects, and there are a few things that Kershaw needs to change across the board with their compact fixed blades in order to make them more competitive with some competitive options I'm going to run in today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks so much for hanging with me. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. And let's dive right on in with kind of the overall dimensions. And Kershaw just dropped this for June 2026. And it's interesting, really, for size perspective, first and foremost, is that it's a little bit smaller. They call it the Mini Iridium fixed blade. So they might be having a air quotes larger version at some point. But what that means is it's not as big as the full size Iridium, right? But what's weird is that it's not as small as the Iridium pocket knife either. It's kind of in this weird hybrid in between with a 3.1 inch cutting edge and blade and then a 4-inch long handle. Now, the blade itself, when I started to get to work with it, sporting D2 steel, same as the original folders. So they got it dialed in 59 to 60, nice tight tolerances there. Kershaw knows what they're doing with D2. With that high flat grind, reverse tanto blade shape, how does it really perform? Very good. Feels like a pocket knife. That feels like a pocket knife right there. There. And that angle down of the reverse tanto makes these type of cuts, like a pull cut, so good. So easy. Very, very precise. Yep. Dude, this is great. And a lot of that also has to do with the sub 1/8 of an inch thick. It's like 0.105, so just a hair under an 1/8 of an inch thick. So, and what's cool is they hold that all the way to transition, and then they drop it into pretty precise tip there. So obviously don't treat it like a crowbar. Let's see, big hose. There you go. Good. Yeah, dude, I mean, I could see it. I could see someone who's just looking for like a budget backpacking blade. Definitely. So if you own one of the reverse tanto versions of the full size or the Mini, you're going to get very similar cutting performance aspects, precision in that way, and right at just over 3.1 inches. I mean, there's a lot of capability for an EDC fixed blade that can come into play. Now, a lot of it when it comes down to these compact blades is with the handle. Is the handle like dimensionally proportional? Or are there some issues? Your pinky's hanging off, all that. I want to get to it in just a second, but quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, which is VAER watches. These guys are an American-based company, and they assemble many of their watches right here with their American workforce. And I've been sporting these watches now for over a year, keeping me on time when I go out on backpacking trips, day hikes, but meals out with Mrs. GT and everything in between. And the build quality using Japanese movement, in this case I'm sporting an S5, this is kind of their introductory watch. You're going to get Japanese quartz movement, you're getting 3/16 stainless steel body, screw down crown, which is going to keep the water resistance to that maximum capability, and you're going to get quick change wristbands, you get sapphire crystal over the face, you get good looms, you get all of these things in a really good package. So when you are looking for potentially just a good timepiece for yourself, but with Father's Day right around the corner, it's a great Father's Day gift. Everyone can use a good timepiece on their wrist, and it really has some sentimental value, you know, because you didn't just go to Walmart and snag something off the shelf. This is something that's got some heart and soul behind the materials, the design, and the quality. So I'm gonna have a link popping up, guys. It's in the description box below as well for you guys to explore, check out. I mean, they have solar power movement, they have automatic movement, they got lots to offer. This is just kind of like get your foot in the door option that I'm wearing today and showing you today. But I encourage you guys, check them out. And if you've never ordered from them before, you can subscribe to their newsletter and get 10% off your first purchase. So excellent timepieces. Can't recommend them enough, guys. I encourage you to check them out so you can stay on time for all of your adventures this summer. Okay, so when it comes to the handle, one, I like that they did 3D machined linen micarta. So that's a nice touch. A lot of their other fixed blades, they've been either doing like G10 or some sort of rubberized material. We're gonna talk about the STEPPE here in a minute for competitive option, food for thought, stuff like that. But that looks and feels really good and just adds a little bit to the quality there. So at 4 inches with a 0.4 thickness, so even though the handle is like just barely there, with all this work, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. My pinky is like right there. What that gives me is just enough real estate. So I am not hanging off the back, much appreciated. Now you're gonna have this cutout where the lanyard hole is. Your pinky, if you wear large size gloves like I do, 3 1/4 knuckle span, you're going to be kind of wrapping around that back end there. It doesn't create a hot spot. It actually kind of gives you like this push point to push into the blade. So it's small, but it just works inside my large size hand. And with that little cut in and all the shoulders being machined and rounded and that bolt on, durability, you're basically getting kind of a in between the two folders, more durable option, right? That's what you're getting with that fixed blade capability. Okay, so now what about competitive options, pricing? And this is where we start kind of fumbling and stumbling, and I really hope that this Kershaw just needs to change something here, because first has to do with the sheath. The sheath is ginormous. It is a polymer. It's not Kydex. It's a polymer, and it is huge. It's almost the size of the knife itself, but like twice as broad. And I don't feel like it needs to be. It's kind of like over-engineered. And with these like pocket-ready EDC fixed blades, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. And so we get lashing points. You can do ulti clips and belt clips, and it's all lined up for that. But what they did was create this like one-of-a-kind plate here that's ambidextrous and swappable, and then like a one-of-a-kind pocket clip, belt clip. I mean, it locks you into place on your pocket if you're gonna front pocket carry. It's so, the knife is so narrow, but the sheath is so big that it takes up almost all the real estate in my pocket. It's broader than a couple options I'm gonna show you here because of how far the standoffs are. And it just feels way over-engineered, kind of over-complicated, when we could just go with something very simple. Here's an example. An overseas made, here's a Boker, right? Thin Kydex, like as thin as paper, but it is Kydex. They just give you this clip that you can put through all sorts of different gear, and you just boom. But it's so slim. It's gonna have a smaller footprint. Think of like the mini harpoon from Kaiser, right? Taco design would be ideal for this. Just comes with this generic thing, but I'll throw an ulti clip on it, like whatever. And so it could possibly make for a smaller footprint because it's so wide, and even the STEPPE will give us an example here. This one is slimmer. They also did this kind of like one-of-a-kind pocket clip. It's cool, and the sheath is ambidextrous and all this stuff, but sometimes it gets bogged down, in there and stuff. If they just did a simple Kydex with, just a basic plastic or, steel clip, and then you can get an ulti clip or, a blade tech lock if you want and mod it how you want, that I think would help a lot. Here's an example of like a sub $100 buck that just came out, USA made, right? I mean, that's just a basic Kydex, comes with a blade tech lock, but then I can just slap an ulti clip on it. That thing is like paper thin, dude. Gonna go in my pocket, not over engineered, just done. So I don't know. I would really like to see that, and I think some of that over-engineering possibly adds to cost. So now when you make a new knife here, every year, the cost to make a new design versus just keep an old one running is significant. The startup costs are becoming more and more crazy just every year, it seems like. So there is a factor to that, but when this is dropping, we're looking at like mid 80s, like 83 I saw at Knife Center. I think it was like 89 at Blade HQ. So we're talking mid to high 80s for a D2 Chinese made polymer large sheath little compact fixed blade, right? And for perspective, now This came out several years ago, but the Steppe, made in D2, slightly larger, I think it's like 50, 60 bucks right now for almost the same type of knife, same materials. Now it has rubber versus micarta. So there are aspects, you know, that are definitely there, but that's something you have to weigh. And then if we look at stuff like, again, this 428C USA made buck, it's like 85, 90 bucks, something like that, with Kydex and all that. And then if we look at something like Beg Lighter, right? I mean, it's a little bit bigger, but Kydex, you know, D2 variants, I think are like 60 bucks, you know, ballpark around there. So it's definitely on the high end for this type of design right now for what's coming out. And really, I think it's going to come down to, if you already really dig an Iridium and you're just wanting a fixed blade variant, it would be a great little like backpacker knife for those who want to cut weight and just have a compact little package. Or for those who like doing EDC fixed blades and you just really like the design of the Iridium, now you have a fixed blade variant that's absolutely going to work. And if you carry it on your belt or on gear, the sheath is not an issue. I mean, it locks you in, it's not going anywhere, and it gives you lots of lashing points. I'm just saying, for like front pocket carry, something like this is definitely going to be my preferred choice. My mileage may vary, but I want to know from you guys. What's your take? That's just my personal opinion. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section on the model overall and about sheath sizes in general. Like, do you like having like a lot of options and kind of a bigger, bulkier sheath, or do you want it slim down, trim, and just simple for better like pocket carry and just straightforward carry? Want to know from you guys. I want to appreciate you for hanging out with me today. Check out the other video. I got a couple Kershaws in, so I'm unpacking all of them, showing you good, bad, so that you guys can make wise choices this week, so that you guys can know what Kershaw is dropping for June 2026. Till next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. I'll see you out there.